Welcome to Climate Quickies, bite-sized nuggets of climate goodness from our TEDxLondon experts in under 5 minutes.
In this week's Climate Curious, we're taking a look at how communities in Bristol are taking control of their local food supply. As I'm sure you're all well aware, food is a biggie. As well as hitting people's bank accounts hard and their health, it takes a pretty big hit on the planet too, accounting for a whopping 22 to 33% of all greenhouse gas emissions. Food, agriculture and the land use sector have a lot of work to do. But local communities are changing that. In collaboration with LettUs Grow, people are setting up local greenhouses, container farms and indoor growing facilities that help really good crops to be grown wherever you are in the world, with whatever skills you have. On helping local communities take control of their food production, here's the co-founder and CEO of LettUs Grow, Charlie Guy. Stay curious.
Hi there, my name's Charlie Guy. I'm the CEO and co-founder at LettUs Grow. We develop technology to improve the sustainability and efficiency of agriculture, focused on the fresh produce industry, boosting productivity for farmers and growers around the world and helping them to reduce their water usage as well. We have a number of projects around the UK and around Europe and soon to be in the Middle East as well, where we are delivering our technology, which at its core is a technology that boosts the yields and productivity of indoor growing operations using something called aeroponics. Over the last few years, we've done a number of projects that are more community focused. So we have a farm that we've delivered, which is operational in York city centre. We have one in a prison. And we've also been working with a number of communities more locally and in Wales to support growing in their local community. So all of those projects are all about how we can reduce the length of the supply chain and get produce grown much closer to where people consume it using indoor farming technologies and indoor farming systems. We also have a number of projects that are within rural communities as well. So farms, that more traditional farms, working with large scale growers to help them boost the productivity of their operations. So aeroponics is a method of growing plants that doesn't need any soil. So it's a soil-free methodology. It's similar to the sort of status quo that's used in commercial horticulture of hydroponics, which is often used in large-scale glass houses and large-scale indoor farming facilities. And that's a way of growing where there's no need for soil and you feed the roots of the plants directly with the water and the nutrients they need to grow. The difference with aeroponics is we take that water and nutrient solution and we turn it into a mist. So we're spraying and the roots of the plants with a very fine mist. And what that does is it increases the oxygenation of the root zone, and that leads to much faster growth rates of the crops. This is something that was first developed actually by NASA in the 1980s for highly efficient food production in space. And what we've done is we've taken this technology and commercialized it for efficient food production here on Earth. I had my eyes open to a lot of the issues in our food system whilst working with a number of charities in the local Bristol area about 10 years ago. And what became really apparent to me was the level of food waste in our society and the level of that waste that actually, sometimes doesn't even leave the farms. So a lot of our food is produced and ends up not becoming, usable, edible produce. And a lot of those issues come down to supply chain factors. It was very shocking to us in the early days of LettUs Grow that around 50% of the salad that we buy, like bagged salad that we buy in the UK, actually ends up in the bin. We've all got experience of that sort of mouldy mess in the back of the fridge. And a lot of the reasons behind this is actually the length of the supply chains and the complexity of, getting the same types of produce onto our plates all year round. And that's how, I first got my eyes open to food production and the innovation potential within the food space to actually improve some of these numbers and improve some of these practices. So it really came from seeing the problem firsthand, understanding the market and the industry, and then starting to build solutions to that based on mine and my co-founder's expertise in both engineering and plant science. We've all been there, and it never feels good wasting food. But at the end of the day, a lot of the produce that we consume, it can be much, much older than we expect in terms of how long it's been sat in the cold chain or in the supply chain. Going into the darker months of the year, you'll start to see herbs flown in from places as far as Kenya. I'd encourage anyone listening to this to look at the provenance of their food, look at where it was grown. We don't get lots of information, in the supermarket about who grew our food, how it was grown, where it was grown, the different practices it was grown under. But using distance is one way, at least, of trying to understand and think about consuming food that's grown much closer to where we are. So having more access to information about our food systems really helps in our decision making and understanding our own personal impacts in life. The UK food system is very centralized through supermarkets, and what that does is it commoditizes and hides the actual production methods and how our food's produced, and disconnects us from food production, which means ultimately less empathy between consumers of food. So that for me is part of the power of what we're doing at LettUs Grow, is raising the profile of our food producers who, ultimately are putting food on our plates day in, day out, year round, working extremely hard to do so, and all driving to improve their sustainability as well, whilst under intense and fierce economic and other sort of socioeconomic pressures to be able to deliver. So from my perspective, raising awareness, getting more people into farms, seeing how food is produced is only a good thing for improving the sustainability of it and innovation going forwards. So many of us love and enjoy food, but we don't necessarily place enough value on that and on the people that are producing it. So the best place to learn about what we're up to is either through our socials or our website, or our newsletters that you can sign up to on our website.
Thanks for listening to this quickie.
This episode was created by our superstar podcast team at TEDxLondon. Until next time,
Stay curious.